Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to In the Mix from the 6th. This is our 42nd edition of the show
Zoom.
from Zoom. We'll be back to in-person very shortly. Trust me.
Yes.
This is my guy, Adis Kuchkovic. I'm Jay Boyle, and we've been absent. Well, we recorded some episodes, technical difficulties, couldn't post them.
We've been trying to put some content out for you guys.
To you guys, we've been absent really since sports got back, and
exactly.
Everything's been nuts. 2020, even sports-wise, been crazy, all right? Pittsburgh Penguins upset. Toronto Maple Leafs, biggest comeback in a generational history.
We have the biggest Pens fan right here.
I'm a bigger Leafs fan than a Pens fan.
I know, of course you are. Yeah.
The Leafs had me on an emotional roller coaster last night. I was close to jumping off my bloody roof, texting my buddies. If you follow me on Twitter, I was dejected. I was emotionally mortified. And then, obviously, we'll get into what happened.
Yeah.
The Raptors were off to a hot start in the bubble and laid a fat goose egg against the Celtics
terrible start yesterday. Yeah.
Well, you know what? The eyes in the city were on the Leafs. They knew that. So, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's take a night and just relax.
So, I'm sure they had a little talk between themselves.
Exactly. So we'll discuss whether that game really means anything, and maybe we'll get into some other stuff too. But take it away.
First, let's start with the Leafs. Is it really a Leaf series if it doesn't play with your heart like this, though, Jay?
If there's not 2-3 goal comebacks.
Exactly, yeah. Last minute wins. But I don't know. I'm a little, because this is like the most I've really been into a Leaf series. Yep. And to me, we have the three stars of our team, Marner, Matthews, and Tavares. They're balling, you know. To combine 13 points in 4 games, that ain't bad.
Yeah, but when one guy has 6.
Why is the result 2-2 between these teams? Why are we tied up with a team that you told me it's skill versus will and we should win?
That's the problem. Skill versus will. Well, let's just get right in it. Game 1, they played good defensively, decent on offense, but they were kept to the outside by Columbus. They couldn't get into the slot for good scoring chances. And Freddie Anderson led in a soft goal. A soft goal. Okay, so that should have been 0-0 headed to OT. Moving to
Wait, hold up. You want to blame it on the pads or you want to just blame it on the guy?
That's nothing to do with the pads, my friend. We got into that episode we didn't post.
Blame it on the guy.
No, that has nothing to do with him switching pads during this break and only having 5 weeks experience, but soft goal. Okay, game 2, obviously played better. We got the dub. Game 3.
Game 3, classic Leafs.
And there was an adjustment made to game 2 and game 3. We got more opportunities in the slot, better scoring opportunities, but our defense was not very good, obviously. And then going into last night, our offense was maybe throughout the game the best it had been, but our defense was close to as bad as it had been, worse than even game 2. But then you know what happened, Addis? A flip finally switched for these kids in their heads, I believe. And it started with 37-year-old Jason Spezza, about the 10 or 12-minute mark, dropping the gloves with Kukin. Take in who Jason Spezza is, right? Not only is this guy 37 years old, he has 940 career points, he's over 1,100 career games. Okay, this is a guy who, been in multiple All-Star games, could potentially, I don't think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, but he's, in that conversation, doesn't fight. And Sheldon Keefe said it the best. He said, literally, Spezza was not going to go home without a fight. There's no way he was letting our season end.
He didn't mean it literally, though.
Well, no, you can say. But he wanted to spark the guys. And even though it was an immediate reaction, 2 minutes later, what happens? Alexander Kerfoot body slams Cam Atkinson to the ice. They start getting agitated. I'm looking around the room now you guys are getting pissed off? But then it started clicking. Then Morgan Riley.
Never too late.
Morgan Riley botches the play for the 3rd goal against. I've never seen Morgan Riley be that upset at the bench. He smashed his stick in half on the bench. And I'm like, now these guys are pissed off, but what is that going to do? You know what it did? These guys were tired of being soft losers and being a laughing stock of the league, and they're just done with it. They're tired of losing, being tired of being mocked by the hockey community, even their own fans, talking about jumping off rooftops and jumping over Niagara Falls, as me and my buddies do. They were just done with it all, and finally, it was enough of this. We were so pissed off, and they got so angered. They started using the body more, and goalie was pulled, and they said, enough of this. We're going to fight with tooth and nail to get this done. And Austin Matthews, as we've said, he's the engine to this team. He went off. Nylander got the first goal. Second goal, who set it up? Tavares finally hit the net. Finally. This guy's been missing the net, I guarantee you, 50% of the time all season. And this
A little
series.
rust, shake it off.
No, all season, he's been flip-flopping sticks because he can't hit the net. I don't know what happened. Guy scored 47 goals last year, can't hit the net this year. But Matthews makes a great pass to him, and he snipes it. And then the third goal, who gets the assist again, Austin Matthews. When he got that pass, me, you, and every single person that knows hockey thought Austin Matthews was shooting that puck. Zach Hyman even said he thought Austin Matthews was shooting that puck. But Matthews is so smart. He pulled it in, dragged two players towards him, passed back to Hyman, game-tying goal. Then obviously he got the winner in overtime. So to me, it's hopefully it carries over to Game 5. But I think these guys have finally. The thing is, we've been waiting for 4 years. Is for these guys to man up and get pissed off and fight with aggression, fight with hunger, right? Want it more than your opponent, and they did those last 4 minutes and in overtime.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, especially at the end there, I felt like, yo, these guys weren't going home with a loss. You know what I mean?
They finally
it was a dub or they were gonna die. I know, and again, we did have issues with them fighting, like these players like Marner who are fighting for money. We were saying, where's the hunger? Is the hunger really there if your first priority is money?
Yeah.
But it's still in there. You know, it might be a little hidden. It might take a little to take it out, but
you said what? You said what? Those top three, they have, you'd say 13 points?
Together, yeah.
What did Tavares and Marner have collectively coming into last night? 1 point each.
Yeah.
Exactly. 1 point each through 3 games. Two $11 million players. They played together the first game, then they got switched off each other's line, and Marner got put with Matthews, Nylander with Tavares. And then what had to go right for these guys? Third period, end of the second, Keefe had to put the three of them together and let them feed off of Austin Matthews.
Exactly. And I felt like that was genius. Yeah.
It was genius, but that's not a system for long-term success. Nylander can play center here and there. But as you progress to the playoffs, if you want a real chance, you can't have Nylander as your second-line center. You need Tavares and Matthews to be your anchors down the middle. If you still had a Nazem Kadri, you didn't have Tyson Berry, total different story. You could roll those three together and then have Nylander and Kadri together, and you'd have a fantastic second line. But
but the thing is, it's almost like what we have with Nick Nurse, where we're like, adjustments get you the results. You can't just, if it's not working, don't stick to the same system. And that's what I like to see. I like to see some adjustments, especially late in the game when you're like, right, if we lose, it could be over, you know?
Well, that's where I'll give a lot of credit to Sheldon Keefe and a big difference from Mike Babcock. Mike Babcock rarely changed lines in game, and even from game to game. It seemed through 3-4 years that it was always Matthews and Nylander. And then since Tavares came in, always Marner and Tavares. Never wanted to try something different. And then this year, for 15, 18-game stretch, Keefe put Tavares and Nylander together, and they were lights out. And then he went back to it these playoffs. So, obviously, Keefe is more willing to do stuff. He benched Martin Marincin, thankfully. That first goal was on Marty. If this guy's so tall, he's about 6'6". If he just dove down instead of doing a one-legged slide, that pass doesn't get through. Benched him finally for the last, 7-8 minutes of the third period. I think I saw him take 2 shifts in overtime. That was it. So, and he cut his bench down. So that's what you need to do in the playoffs, man. It's just like basketball. You go down to an 8, max 9-guy rotation in the playoffs unless you're the Raptors.
We can do like a 12-guy rotation if they want.
Yeah, but the team does it.
What do you want to see in Game 5, though? Like, of course we want to see what we saw in that third period and in overtime. But what do you like? What adjustments can we make from the get-go that doesn't
what I need to see
down
is
3-0?
So I'm gonna give you Matthew's stat line here, right? Say 28-15 this guy played. He had 2 assists, obviously, and a goal, but 10 shots. But he also had 2 hits, 3 blocks. Those 2 hits, 3 blocks, the majority came in the last 10 minutes. Come with that right out the gate. Matthew's been a little more physical. Jason Spezza, I think he had 3 hits last night too. Do that right out of the gate. Kyle Clifford, do what you did in Game 2. Kyle Clifford, second shift of the game in Game 2, ran over his man, Nudavara, knocked him out of the game, and the Leafs got energized. Use the physicality, get pissed off, and go after it first, 5 minutes, because that's how Columbus is going to come at you. They're going to come at you. They're going to forecheck you. And that goes back to what I told you in the episode we didn't post.
Yeah.
Where it's stay calm and stay composed, And that's what I guess it's worked for them a bit in Game 2, but last night, they blew a gasket and then it worked. But, if things don't go right early on, stick with the plan. Don't get, too discombobulated right out of the get-go.
Right. So I was going to say, if they do come out too hot, I feel like that's also been a downfall to the Leafs where I think it was Game 3 where we saw they had the 3-0 lead, and they just by the end they had nothing in them, and they just lost the game in overtime.
No, that was more mentally, I think, than they came out too hot. I think Keith also maybe used the top guys too early in that game. Where last night we saw
put them out so early, and
he started using them
points,
very heavily in the third period. That nuclear line, as the overdrive takes into 50 overdrive guys dubbed it. They were playing almost every other shift, but he saved that for the third period. Where in game 2 he was using them so heavily in the first. So maybe they did run out of gas. That could be a fair point.
Yeah, but hey,
time
will tell. We're gonna find out tomorrow.
I don't even mean by you got to score the goals. It's just you got to play hard. Take away the time and space from Columbus, and make sure Columbus knows you're here to play, and take away their will and their fight. They're not a great goal scoring team. Mitch Marner said he goes.
I know, but
we can. Mitch Marner said it.
Fight, bro.
Yeah, but Marner said it this morning in his media availability. He said we can be a good defensive team against this Columbus team. We did it game 2, so that's got to be top of mind. That's got to be top of mind, and you got to come out ready to fight. And play heavy. As Kyle Dubas likes to say, we got to play heavy.
Hey, that's the right mindset to have, It's because they're looking at game 2. Don't look at you giving up a 3-0 lead. Don't look at anything else. Look at what you're doing right, and that's what you need to do in the future, especially going into this next game. But
can we just look
beyond that? I just want to know beyond that what you're thinking with the Leafs.
What do you mean?
Like, what big of an impact can we actually have here if we do, let's say, eliminate Columbus? Yeah.
Well, Boston lost their first 2 games of the round robin.
They're round robin, though, right? Yeah.
There's a good chance we're not going to play Boston. So, depending who we match up with, I've said, if we play Philly, I think we can progress. If we play Tampa, there's a chance. But, like, we are the Tampa Bay Lightning juniors, and Tampa's the seniors. Very similar style, but they have the better goaltender, more experience, more depth, and way better blue line. But they play a similar style to us. That's why Columbus, gave them the same problems and swept them the way they're doing to us. It's not going to be locked on. Even though they have better defensemen, they're jumping up in the rush. It's more of an open style. That does bode better for the Leafs than playing, obviously Boston or Washington, who can really lock it down when they need to. So depending on the matchup, I think they can progress maybe to the semifinals, but that's all going to depend on matchups.
Hopefully we get the correct matchup, because I really don't want to see us with Boston again.
No, but
I don't want to see that.
The one thing that hurts Toronto's odds is Montreal. We were supposed to get the top seed, which could be Philly or Tampa. But with Montreal progressing, they're going to be the lowest seed now, the 12th seed. So they're going to play the highest seed, and we'll play the second. So it depends who finish second, but I don't think it'll be Boston still.
Well, then that's perfect, because I feel like that's our only kryptonite, really, going into the second round. But
yes, at some point, like I told you before, how did Washington win their cup? They slayed the dragon of the Pittsburgh Penguins. 3 straight years they had lost them in the playoffs, and it was like 6 years. And then
you think that's a mandatory thing? We got to get through that team to really progress.
It's a mental block. One mental block for the Leafs is just winning a series, which this group has never done. But it happened for Washington. Once they got past Pittsburgh, it was like, okay, that was their toughest competition. They felt like they could steamroll anybody else.
That'd be beautiful, though. If the one, I don't want to jump the gun here, but if we were to win a championship and at the same time eliminate the team that's took us away from that for this many years,
I mean,
poetic.
That's the dream. But as I've said all year long, the Leafs are not Stanley Cup contenders. Let's be realistic here for a second.
You be realistic after, not during, bro. Don't be realistic during.
This is why we have one, certified journalist on this show, and then one guy who's cheering for the city.
Hey, last year with the Raptors, you gave me the same spiel. Let's be realistic.
Hold on.
I was unrealistic.
Hold on.
And got the results.
What did I say with the Raptors? That was when I thought Kevin Durant was playing. I said Golden State. I picked them to win. When Kevin Durant got injured, I said Raps got the chance to win this.
With or without him, I was saying Raptors are winning. Obviously, I wouldn't put my money on it, but
so thank you. Prove my point. All right, shall we move on to? There's been a couple eliminations. We'll just touch on quick. I called it. We didn't post. I said the Islanders would topple the Panthers. Wasn't even a competition much.
Wasn't at all.
And then Vancouver last night. That was a hell of a game to eliminate Minnesota Wild. They were down. Bo Horvat ties it up late. Vancouver scores the winner 11 seconds in.
You got that one too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're, again, similar to the Leafs, young team, offensive threats, not the best defense. Goaltending, Markstrom's pretty good, and they held it together. But Minnesota is an easier opponent than Columbus by, a wide margin too.
Yeah.
And then let's get to the one big upset that crushed my afternoon.
Sent your team home. Well, besides the Leafs, but
yeah, let me give you a rundown of prior to the last 4 minutes of Leafs game yesterday, the previous 24 hours. Okay, so I watched the Leafs lose a 3-goal lead, and I'm like, now they're down 2-1, like heartbreaking.
It's not looking good, yeah.
Right. Following day, 4 p.m. Penguins are in a heck of a defensive battle. Brandon Tanev, overpaid fourth line at $3.5 million, turns the puck over with 4 minutes left in their own end. Montreal scores the goal. Montreal eliminates the Penguins. Not only I like the Penguins, but it's Montreal. Obviously, being a Leafs fan, I hate them. So then
this is a team that you said if they won a game, they'd be lucky.
Be surprising. And then
did more than that.
And then going into the Leafs game, so I watched the Leafs give up a 3-goal lead. I watched Pittsburgh get eliminated by Montreal. And then
I wouldn't even watch.
And then I'm watching the Leafs down 3-0.
Yeah.
Dude, I was so emotionally drained. I was like, I wanted hockey back so bad for these two teams.
Not for this, though.
And they're both going to be out. I was dejected. I was defeated. Like, I was ready to rip off my Marner autograph jersey and put it in the garbage.
I saw you hang up the Vancouver one and pull down the
Leafs
one.
I hung up the Pittsburgh one. I don't have a Vancouver jersey.
Oh, sorry, the Penguins one.
I was praying.
But you took down that Leafs one with a prayer.
Yeah, it worked. You know what? We'll get into what went wrong for the Penguins. I think it's a long list of things, man. It wasn't just one thing. I'll give credit to Montreal. They played a good defensive system. They played the trap, especially in close situations. It was 5 guys back, clogged the neutral zone. For the Penguins, Freddie only cost the Leafs 1 game, but Matt Murray cost the Penguins 2 games, and you can say without a doubt. Game 1, the overtime winner, Jeff Petrie, whenever a goal goes through a goalie's arm here, it's not good. It's not good. That was the overtime winner. And then Game 3, same thing. Matt Murray, they were up, 3-1? He allowed 4 goals total, and 3 of them were bad goals. And finally, I tweeted out Mike Sullivan had made the adjustment for Game 4 and said we're going with Tristan Jarry, but, little too late. So the goaltending was one issue, but then furthermore, I don't want to use injuries as an excuse. Penguins were rolling through much of the season, but then they finished 3-8 to end the season. Part of that, so they lost some momentum. Jake Guentzel, third best player on the team, played 37 games, then was out the rest of the season, not supposed to return. Because of the break, he could return. But what, he hadn't played hockey in 6.5, 7 months? Then you're thrown into the playoffs. Sidney Crosby, he played 25 games, then he missed 2 months, played 15, then 4.5 months off. He said that after the break. He goes, never at one point this season did I feel like I was in a real groove because, you played.
I wanted to talk about him a little because I was going to say, in these games, 3 points? I think he finished with only 3 points.
Yeah, 2 goals, 1 assist, I think.
And yesterday didn't do anything. So
they didn't score
or assist. So is there any blame that should be put on him? Because he is a little undoubtedly the best player.
You could say, he wasn't up to his standard, but I would say there's a lot of time. They played him with Connor Sheary and Jake Guentzel. I love Jake Guentzel. Connor Sheary, they got at the deadline back from Buffalo. They were trying to rekindle the line they had in 2017. Connor Sheary's not the same player that he was in 2017. There's a lot of times where
3 years,
Sheary didn't capitalize on opportunities that Sitter or Guentzel set him up for. And then you saw that halfway through Game 4. But again, little too late for Mike Sullivan to make these adjustments. He waited all that time and then dropped Sheary down to the third line, I think it was.
But what did you want to credit Crosby not saying that he doesn't feel like he was ever in the groove? Can you blame it on age? Because he's not that old. What is he, about 34, 33?
He's 33. No, I think it's just you play 25 games, you miss 2.5 months, you come back, you play 12 or 15, then you miss 4.5 months, and then now you come in and you play 4 games. Hockey, you got to get those repetitions. And, man, I think it's football. Obviously, every sport's hard, but I think hockey and baseball are the most where when you miss a chunk of time, it's harder to get back into the swing of things. Right? Like baseball, you don't see a 98-mile-per-hour fastball for 2 months. that's gonna give a difference, right? And same thing with hockey. The game moves at such a quick pace, and
I know. I was gonna say it's probably the pace that's
there's
really.
so many things going on at each time. And guys always say when they miss time, it's reading plays, right?
Yeah.
Predicting what's gonna happen and where you should be. That goes. He played okay, all right. Like game 2, opened up the scoring. Price made a lot of great saves on him. I will say Carey Price. Coming into the series, I told you I don't think there's any way Carey Price could steal this series. 5 periods into the series, I'm like, oh shit, Carey Price could steal this
He's gonna
series.
steal the series.
Right? And I don't know if he really stole it, but he did a hell of a job, and he shut down.
Great, yeah.
He scored 2 goals. But then nothing's been confirmed, but the commentators alluded to it yesterday, and I've been thinking it after game 2. I think Evgeny Malkin was dealing with some sort of shoulder injury. His shot seemed off, and he's also a big body, and he throws his body, especially in the playoffs. When they need a hit, he'll run guys over.
Yeah.
He barely hit anybody.
But there was no injury listed, nothing.
Well, the way the NHL is doing now because of COVID, they don't want an Austin Matthews situation where they're getting out. When anybody is safe, even if they're not playing, it's just listed as unfit to play. So the media doesn't know if they have a broken rib cage or they have COVID-19. And he was playing through it, so obviously it wasn't COVID. But it just looked like when you see Gino not being physical, there's something off with him.
It's a sign, yeah.
Yeah. And then more with the makeup of the team, man. They're not what they were in 2016-17 when they won back-to-back. They don't have the speed and the depth that they did back then. They don't have the options in the top 6. Patrick Hornqvist, they're holding on to him. He was a guy you could play on first line, second line, third line. Now he's not really, what he used to be, obviously. Guys get older. And unless you're the Sidney Crosbys of the world, you don't age gracefully. It's just simple as –
I was going to say something interesting. I did hear Crosby say, I think this was before – the series. They got eliminated, of course, but he was saying he thinks that the window was closing for the team.
Yeah, he said it's getting there. Chris Letang, their best defenseman, is in his mid-30s almost too.
But is that confirmed now that they're eliminated? Is that like, okay, this team's going to have to start rebuilding here?
Problem is they always trade their first-round picks. They did it again. I didn't like their trade deadline move. I think Jason Zucker is an overrated player, and he's overpaid at $6 million. He was ineffective these playoffs. He was okay during the season when they got him at the deadline. But you give up a first-round pick for him. They gave up their best defensive prospect for him. So they keep going for these wins. Well, you have Crosby and Malkin, so I get that. But it's not like they have these young guys who are going to come up next year. Fingers crossed. Maybe they'll win the lottery draft and get Alexis Lafreniere. That's totally going to change the makeup of their top 6 forwards. It would be crazy.
Yeah.
But I think they need to get quicker. Evgeny Malkin's never been.
It does make sense though that they're trying to use these players while they have them now, because 2-3 years from now, who's to say they can even compete at that level?
You got to find the right moves. Jason Zucker is not that much of a difference maker. He's a two-way forward. He doesn't have the speed. Crosby's still a decent skater, but he's not as quick as he once was. 2016-17, the formula for winning was very simple. The defenseman would chip the puck off the glass or lob it and get it underneath for their forwards to skate into, and the forwards all had pace and speed, and they would attack the other team.
Yeah.
They didn't have Justin Schultz was great at playing that way back then. He had a very rough season this year, making $4.5 million. Injured in and out of the lineup. This guy went from 2016 being in the top pairing when they won the cup, 2017 being in their second pairing. So now he's in their third pairing. So that speaks to another guy who's regressed. And he's not even that old, late 20s. But, they got to make more adjustments and then get their depth back. Third and fourth line, very ineffective.
Yeah.
Jared McCann was brought in. Same thing, another guy brought in to have an impact as his third-line center, Jared McCann. Where was he this series? Useless. Nick Bjugstad brought in with him as a trade. Be the third and fourth line centers. He's been injured it seems like for 2 years.
Well, hey, you know what? The Leafs don't give you much. But you know what they did give you specifically? A team to cheer for. Because the Pens are out, and who knows where they're going to be for the next few years. But we still cheer and hope that the Leafs are championship team this year.
At least one more night, we got the Leafs. Hopefully it goes past.
At least one more night.
Dude, I'm nervous for that game. I'm excited for it. I don't even know what the think's going to happen.
I don't know, man. I'm prepared for the worst from watching Leafs games in the past. I'm prepared. If it does happen,
I'm going to take the Leafs to win, because I think that flip has switched for them. I think it has.
Hopefully it carries into the next game, because at the end of that game, like you said, those players are fighting like, hey, we're not losing this series. This is like, they don't want to be a laughing stock anymore.
Yeah, and it was the first time in 4 years they've ever fought like that, right? So
Well,
I just hope that flip is still switched on when the puck is dropped for Game 5, and I think they're going to be fine. Tighten it up defensively, come out hot and heavy.
well, I'm
All
sure you're
right.
gonna be back on here telling us what they did right or wrong.
Oh, 100%. We'll have a Monday morning recap.
Either Monday morning rant or Monday morning celebration.
Well, we could do it Tuesday because Monday is the second half of the lottery draft because all the teams will be eliminated.
Yeah.
So we'll find out which eliminated team is going to get the rights to draft Alexis Lafreniere. Will it be Pittsburgh, Florida? Who will it be?
Do we have?
Columbus,
I think we
Toronto?
had this conversation though, before the restart happened, saying that was it? Oh no, we were talking about Boston, I think possibly, because we were saying what if he were to be drafted on the top teams, and then it kind of makes it unfair. But
well, you know what?
it could happen with Pens, and if that happens,
Alexis Lafreniere might be the luckiest first overall draft pick ever, unless he's drafted by the Florida Panthers. Florida Panthers, like, they have a decent team. They're growing, but it's just goaltending's a mess. Management, Del Talon doesn't know what he's doing anymore. And I would hate to play. Obviously, everybody wants to live in Florida, Sunrise, Florida, gorgeous.
As bad as it can be.
No, but how dejected are you every night when you get to the rink for a home game and you have 10,000 fans, maybe 11, 12,000 fans only there, and your building is dead?
Yeah, but how motivated are you to change that?
I mean, yeah, I guess so, but when you come in from the QMJHL Rimouski, where it's a packed barn every night and they're going crazy for you, so then you're having a half-empty building, it can be pretty demoralizing.
Also, we didn't touch on it with Edmonton.
Oh,
I want to know.
God.
Everything everything at least they were promised with McDavid, and year after year we get this result. Like, what's going on with them? Why? This is
a team. This is a team that was ruined by Peter Chiarelli, former general manager. Their cap situation. Here's the thing: the Leafs are a better team, but the Oilers have a worse cap situation than I think the Leafs, because even though McDavid's at 12.5 and Draisaitl's only at 8, they have a bunch of mediocre players making between $4 and $6 million. And what do you do with these guys? James Neal was on their fourth line to start last game, making $6.5 million on your fourth line. And they flipped Lucic for him because Lucic was making the same thing. And they said, we'll take a shot in the dark here, see if a guy can be better. I did have a conversation, actually, with Brad Holland, Ken Holland's son. Ken Holland is a GM of the Oilers. His son is a scout for the Oilers.
How'd you pull that off?
For a course I'm working on through some family connections. But, no, hey, if anybody's going to right that ship, it's going to be Ken Holland. Based off, I'm not going to reveal because it wasn't like something that a conversation that was to be on the record.
Public,
Talking to him, they know the areas they have to address, and those are the guys to do it if anybody can do it. But it's not going to be a 1-year process. It's going to be a 3-4 year process for these guys. They have no depth. Their defense is terrible. Goaltending is up and down. They have a good coach and a good general manager. So, I don't know, man. McDavid has no help in Draisaitl. Going into last game, I think they had scored between them 8 goals or 9 goals, and the rest of the team had 3. So,
pretty embarrassing.
Like, you talk about the Leafs top guys performing, at least it's like 4 guys or 5 guys.
Yeah.
But the Oilers, it's 2 guys. That's it.
And it's not like a sport like basketball where that one guy can really make too big of an impact.
Let's just revisit what Taylor Hall was drafted 2010, 2012-ish. I think 2012.
Taylor, yeah.
First overall pick, he's gone. He's now in Arizona. They just won a playoff series. Okay. Then you had Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He hasn't lived up to the hype. He gets bounced from center to wing, first line to third line. You drafted Nail Yakupov first overall. He's out of the NHL. He's playing in Russia. And then you took Connor McDavid. So they only have 2 of their 4 first overall picks remaining. Jesse Puljujarvi they took with the 4th overall pick. He's asked to leave. He wants a trade. He's been playing overseas all season in Finland or Sweden or something. Like, just Peter Chiarelli was terrible at drafting, terrible development, and hopefully Ken Holland can do better. And, hey, maybe they'll get Lafreniere. If they get Lafreniere, it'd be crazy.
I was going to say, though, but because you like Ryan Hall, who's in Arizona right now, going on to the playoffs, is it the environment? Taylor Hall. Is it not then the environment that's you can't blame the players, blame the environment.
So
Thing.
here's the thing with Taylor Hall. I like that you brought that up. In Edmonton, he was dubbed as uncoachable. Okay, he went to New Jersey, put them on their back, dragged them to the 8th seed in the playoffs, and won the league MVP.
Yeah.
And then Arizona. Arizona pays a heavy price for this guy. He didn't have the best end of the regular season with them, but character guy, good skill, and he played decent this series too. So yeah, how much is it the players aren't performing or the culture there? They need a culture change.
Not a winning culture, yeah.
No, not by any means. And I think they have to be careful with Connor. How long is he going to put up with this?
Exactly. And what a talent! Like it's kind of like if you lose him, what do you have?
5 years in, he's won one playoff series, been to the playoffs.
That's what I'm saying. Everything I was hearing about this guy, what I was promised that this guy would bring. If I was in Edmonton right now, I'm screaming at the GM or someone on that team.
But the problem is at the deadline, what do they have to do? Like, you would love to get a elite winger to play with him, but you have no cap space. Yeah. So they bring in Tyler Ennis from Ottawa and Andreas Athanasiou from Detroit. The two of
you got to reorganize all that money. Yeah.
It's simple. They need to banish James Neal to the AHL, get some salary relief, or buy him out, get Andre Sekera off the books. Adam Larson needs to be dumped because he's who they traded Taylor Hall for, and he's barely a top 4 defenseman.
Yeah.
Making big money, too. So it's
traded him for a guy who went on to be MVP and now fighting for
the thing is, you look at how do they right the ship? Well, what did the Leafs do years ago? Well, they got rid of Kessel, Phaneuf, everybody shedded the salary, went to the bottom of the league, rebuild. The thing is, you already got McDavid, you alrety got Draisaitl. So do they want to go through that again?
I don't think if I'm them, you
get
can't
me out of there.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's why they're in the in-between stage. Where you're trying to retool on the fly, but it's not so easy because nobody's just going to take a scrub making $6 million off your hands. What did the Leafs have to do to get rid of Patrick Marleau $6 million? We have to give our first-round pick to Carolina. We have to give a team a first-round pick to take a player from us.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you really do then in that situation? Because you can't. It's too late. You can't change the money now for these guys. And you can't trade them because no one's going to pay them that. So
you have to
stuck with waiting.
You can put the player in the AHL if you want. You'll get some salary relief there. But unless there's certain clauses in the contract that forbid it. But you got to do what the Leafs did, man. You think Kyle Dubas was excited about giving up a first-round pick to trade Patrick Marleau away to Carolina? No. Yeah. Carolina took that first-round pick, and then they bought him out. He wasn't even on their roster. Didn't play one game.
That man's trash.
Well, now he's
on. Be another man's trash.
Then he signed with San Jose midway through the season, and then got traded to Pittsburgh, and did nothing for Pittsburgh this series, as he did nothing for Toronto last year. Well, all right, Raptors talk now or what?
I guess, let's move on. I just think we covered everything that's so far been going on in hockey.
Before we get to the Raptors, though.
Oh, yes, sir. We got a
special announcement. We have our first official partnership and sponsorship by Majestic Barber and Salon, located at 289 Dundas Street East in Mississauga. And listen, my hair looks fresh. It always does.
Okay, show me your face. Show me the side. The side.
It's a weekend.
Go to that barbershop, bro. Listen, if you don't go to that barbershop, you ain't getting no ladies. You ain't getting no money. You ain't getting nothing.
The cuts are so fire that I'm scheduled in there every 14 days. Permanent schedule. Been like that for as long as I can remember.
Exactly.
And it's just the best type of barbershop vibe in there. They got PlayStation, you want to play PlayStation. They got music banging, you want music. The Pizza Hut right there if you want to order some food. But best cuts in the saga, best service, and we're happy to partner with them. We have big things coming up with them. As soon as we kind of get over the COVID hump, we're getting there. We're going to have some special type of shows coming to you guys with great content and hopefully some great guests. So Majestic Barbershop, 289 Dundas Street East, Mississauga. Go in there, ask for Barry. He's going to take care of you. Maurice will be back shortly too.
Right. anyone in that barbershop you go to.
Anyone. All right. Moving on. Toronto. They got slapped by Boston yesterday, bro.
That doesn't even, that doesn't tell everything. They didn't just get slapped. They got slapped, kicked while they were down, and spit on.
Here's the thing. It was 122-100, but it was only because Boston started resting their guys in the fourth because it was like a 35-point game.
at least that. While I was watching the fourth, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be so mad if this game finishes with a 40-point difference. At least close it a little bit, so it doesn't look so embarrassing. Can you imagine if the game finished? Because at one point I was watching, I went to turn it off. It was 111-71.
Yeah.
The fourth quarter is almost done, and the Raptors only had 71 points in it.
Is this cause for concern? Their offense was no good. Their defense was no good. It's an anomaly. It's uncharacteristic of them. They'd been great in the bubble prior to that, right? They beat Miami. Who was their first game against? Lakers. They beat the Lakers.
Lakers, yeah. Lakers, Miami, Orlando.
And Orlando, easy. They were 3-0, and then they ran into a good Boston team. Now, there's one cause of concern for me. Other than the Lakers, the rest of the top teams in the league. And first, Chris Broussard had said this last week, and I got upset at him. And I said, let's see how this plays out. And I believe it was Boston, Milwaukee, Clippers, and who the fourth team was? Elite. Oh, and Houston. The Raptors only have one win against those four teams this season.
Yeah, but to the biggest.
We want to be championship contenders. We want to go back to back. We want to make a playoff run. But besides
the thing, though,
the next, four best teams in the league, arguably, you've only have one win.
Yeah, but teams like Clippers, Houston, you're not going to be playing those teams unless it's in a finals, right? So playoffs.
Milwaukee and Boston, we have one win against Boston. We beat one season. That's our one win against those four teams.
I've been saying this. I'm more worried for Boston than I am for Milwaukee.
Boston never can really concern me, but yesterday did a little bit. They can match our depth off their bench, but I don't know. Tatum was. I'm not buying the Tatum hype. I think he's good.
I'm not either.
I don't think he's a superstar. Jaylen Brown, I've seen him crumble in clutch times. Kemba Walker, he's an all-star. He's
first time playoff though, right?
Right. First time playoffs. He's never been much more than that in terms of level of players. So, and Gordon Hayward's up and down. He'll drop 20 and then he'll drop 2 the next night.
They did make an adjustment though that I saw I could worry for Raptors playing them in the playoffs though. They had Daniel Theis, who was playing defense on a Marc Gasol, who decided and said, Marc Gasol ain't gonna give me that many points. So you know what I'm gonna do? Instead of guarding Marc Gasol
at the 3-point line,
he's looking for double teams everywhere. So whoever's working, if it's VanVleet, if it's Siakam, if it's Lowry, he's helping on the double team. Because no one on that team seems too worried about what Marc Gasol is doing. And he gave you, 10 points yesterday?
Yeah.
And he was left open a lot at the time. So it's kind of
I saw Barkley was talking about it yesterday. Now, he was saying it in terms of Marcus Smart, but it's totally applicable to the same situation. The problem, if guys don't guard Marcus at the 3-point line because he likes to live out there for some reason, set his screen and stay out there. When he sets his screen, sure, okay, Kyle can get by his guy with no interference. Well, as soon as Kyle rolls off now, Theis is waiting for him.
Exactly. And Theis is not a guy he's not worried about what Gasol is doing. Like, if Gasol isn't in that perimeter,
should anybody be? Should anybody be? Like, I've been on this since we acquired him last year.
I know, but this was my
always
issue.
Fighting me on it. Right?
I think if we play a Boston in the playoffs, you got to start Ibaka at the 5 just to kind of give him something to worry about. Yeah? And the speed, Gasol's just, I don't know. He's there sometimes defensively, but I feel like that's all he's there for sometimes.
Here's the problem for me with Marc Gasol on the offensive side of the ball, okay? He can still do some stuff on the inside. He's not as good as he used to be. He's not going to shoot 65% field goal from inside the paint anymore. But this guy went 3 of 6 last night. What do you think those 3 misses were? All 3-pointers, man. All 3-pointers. This guy shoots like 28% for the 3-point line now. Why are you just chilling out there?
He has some confidence in that 3-point shot that no one else sees. I don't know. Like, every time he throws a 3 up, to me, watching it on TV and just knowing I always like, oh, fuck. And when it goes in, it's like, okay.
Yeah, the odd time it goes in, obviously, nobody's going to miss every shot. But it's just like 3 of 6, 0 of 3 from 3. So we got 3 buckets in the paint yesterday. Those are the only makes he had. I don't understand why he lives out there. Why Nick Nurse, even though we commend him, I think he should have been coach of the year. But why the heck have you not made this adjustment with Gasol that you got to go inside the paint? Like Ibaka. Ibaka lives all over the court. He goes
Exactly.
inside and outside, and he's just
And he's a bigger threat at the 3 than Gasol is. Like,
he is.
that's a certainty. But the thing with Gasol is, if you're a veteran, you're the guys that's supposed, like, you've seen everything.
Yep.
It is clear that this team wants you to take the shot because they're leaving you open. Why are you giving them that? They're literally giving them what the other team wants, which is him blowing a 3. And it's like, it's clear. Watching on TV, I don't know how he doesn't see it on the court, that they beat up everyone because they're not worried about you at the 3. How about you start moving inside? And then we'll start seeing some changes on the defense. But I don't know. Last night was really pissing me off.
Do you think he has a bigger impact against Memphis? First time he's going up against his former team tomorrow.
A bigger impact? I don't think so, because
he's not going to get up.
Who's he running into in the inside?
JV and Brandon
the old
Clark.
Raptor, yeah, who's probably going to want to show something off. And I feel like Memphis is a team, they need that next win. Every win that they're getting, because they went 0-4 to start.
They won their last game, I believe.
Yeah, I think that was their first win. I think it was against Brooklyn or something. I don't know. But, like, is Marc Gasol really going to put in work on Jonas Valanciunas? No. Maybe he might help. Like, he's going to help defensively, but I feel like, again, we know he's going to give you that work defensively, but that's all he gives you. And, like, it is a liability offensively.
Yeah. So, before I get to the defensive side of the ball of the Raptors, there's one more guy I want to focus on the offense. He's a guy where, for the life of me, I'll never understand how people buy his hype when he has one good game every 3 weeks. And that's OG Anunoby. Don't give me the stuff about his defense. I know how valuable he is in defensive end. The problem for me is when you have two guys on the court that are just there defensively, and OG Anunoby and Marc Gasol, your offense runs into issues, okay? Yeah. OG Anunoby cannot create any offense for himself or anybody most of the time. And I see, even guys working for Yahoo Sports, I'm taking shots at anybody here, but they buy into the OG hype so quick when he has one game. Oh, he's developed. Oh, he's done this. He had one good game, first game in the bubble. And then all these interviews talking about where did his ball handling get better. And it's like, as soon as the pause happened, I started working my ball handling. He cannot drive. He cannot hit step-back shots. He can't hit fadeaways. He can't create shots for himself. He can hit a catch and shoot, and that's all.
I was going to say, he's there for a catch and shoot open 3.
And what did he do yesterday in 18 minutes? Like, Nick Nurse just pulled him because he saw that he's being useless. 3 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 of 4 field goals. You're starting small forward, and you're only taking 4 field goal attempts? Like,
yeah. I watching the game, he doesn't have confidence in his offensive game, but he has all the confidence in his defense. And it's like, you're not Gasol, you're not a veteran, you're not a guy who's been in the league forever.
But this is why
providing more.
This is what a thing that can hold the Raptors back from repeating. It's the same thing that was our clutch for years with Lowry and DeRozan. I always said, you're never going to win a chip with your backcourt being your best players unless you have the 2 best shooters in the world, i.e. Steph and Clay, right? And the Raptors had always struggled to find a small forward. So they said, Masai said, we're going to do it internally. We're going to develop someone. He drafted OG Anunoby. And then he realized, he's just not going as quick enough. He brought in Kawhi Leonard. We win a chip. Kawhi Leonard leaves. You're back to OG Anunoby. And even internally, we have failed to develop this guy at small forward to be feasible and develop him to the point where he can catch up with this group and compete right now. I don't need him developing for 2-3 years down the line anymore. He's been in the league for how many years? 3 years? Sure, he missed last season. But I don't even care anymore, man. We needed him ready for this season, and they failed to do that.
But I don't know. Just looking at the East, besides a boss, like I don't, because he can put points. Okay, he can put points on offensively, but like last night, when a guy like either Jaylen Brown or Tatum's guarding him, he's not doing anything. But at his position, I feel like there's not gonna be too many guys to give him problems defensively.
There's a difference to me when I see OG playing, decent offense to yesterday. Yesterday, he was hanging around the outside, and that was it. When he's good is when he sees Kyle driving, and then obviously, his defender's going to start coming towards Kyle, closing with the help, and then OG will make a backdoor cut. And he's actually active on the offense, running around, making cuts, setting screens for guys. But when he's just stagnant, there's no use of having him out on the offensive side of the ball.
But I'm saying that's what I think that stagnant comes from him being a little like shocked, like not fearful, but like a little
scared of Tatum.
Not scared of him, but like I'm not offensively at this guy. Like he could shut me down.
Well, then
So
I don't
I'm
know
not
about
gonna
you,
like.
but I'm a
I'm not.
fiery
That's why
guy.
you only get 4 field goals, right?
Hold on. But I don't know about you. Oh, I do know about you. We're both fiery guys. If I'm in hockey, ball guys, I'm going up against a tougher opponent. It's gonna fire me up to try and do as much as I can possibly to beat them. So for him, when Jason Tatum's on him, you should be working harder. You should be making more cuts, be making more off-ball screens, doing anything you possibly can, creating open space for other guys, anything you can. But he goes and does less.
Yeah, especially for a third-year guy, it's bad. But I don't know. Just watching him play, that's where I see his head is at. Once I saw him looking at Tatum, being like, "Oh, he's guarding me. Okay, my offense is like, there's no point in my offense now. I'm just gonna work defense." And it's not a good place to go to because when we are down and we are not having Siakam or Larry or Van Fleet giving us 25 points, maybe even 30, who do we go to? You got to go to an Ibaka and Marc Gasol, like
Fred VanVleet. He sucked.
No, but I'm saying when those guys aren't giving you those numbers, where do you go? Because OG's clearly not going to give you anything.
You know what?
Now.
Part of this season it would have been Norman Powell. And I said,
before the restart, for sure.
I said to you during the scrimmages, I didn't like how he looked. He played a good last scrimmage, and he's been up and down in these regular season games. So
I haven't really seen him been up in these regular season games, to be honest. He's been pretty bad to me.
He's back to where he was last year and the rest of his career, where he's taking the looks.
Making a jump earlier,
Yeah, he's taking the looks that he was taking this year, but this year he was hitting them, and the rest of his career he hasn't. So then you got to realize, okay, let me just get to my spots where I know I can be effective from. And he doesn't limit himself when things aren't going his way. He just tries to force his way through it. Okay, I'm going to take this drive to the lane through 4 guys. So everybody talks about the Raptors' depth. The Raptors' depth is not looking fantastic right now. Hollis Jefferson, you know what I mean?
I would like them to – I would like –
Norman Powell is a big difference,
but I want to see them open – at least for these season games, open up. Like, they put in Chris Boucher and Matt Thomas in when we were already down by 40. So, you're not really putting them in for any success. Mm-hmm. Why not try them out a bit earlier in the game?
You know what?
Because this is a guy Nick Nurse who I expect this from, right? So,
I am a huge Matt Thomas guy. He can shoot the lights out. Just he's got to get the opportunity. Okay?
Exactly. You can't give him the opportunity when you're down by 30 because then he's just it's
why am I even
pointless for him to be out there. Yeah.
The one concern for me on the defensive end last night was how easy it was for the Celtics. It wasn't like Tatum, Brown, Kemba cooked us or any of them. It was so easy to swing the ball around that anybody could score. You look at what these guys put up yesterday. I mean, Tatum had the easiest.
Everyone was hitting threes.
Tatum had the easiest 18.7 of 14 game of his life. Okay, Jaylen Brown had 20 points, 7 of 14. Nobody lit the lamp. They all just played decent. They threw the ball around. Kemba had 17 points in 23 minutes on 6 of 14. Then Hayward chips in 9, Theis 11. Smart was the only guy who sucked with 2.
I think you go over to their bench, and their bench is putting up points.
Brad Wanamaker had 15.
Yeah,
Semi Ojeleye 11. Robert Williams 10. It was just so easy for anybody to score on that Celtics team last night. But we've been down on them long enough. How do they prevent that from happening? Going forward. Do you think
Raptors?
Do you think it was just they were?
I think it was just the game. I really think it was an off game. Every team's had, but my only because I was talking to my brother about this earlier too. I can say it was an off game, but when you see other teams have off games, sometimes you also see those other teams sitting their best players, right? So it's kind of okay, well they weren't too invested in winning.
Yeah.
Raptors sat no one out last night. And
but you know what? We've had big comebacks. We've had big comebacks in the past. You've seen it happen in the bubble. You've seen Milwaukee.
30, 40
Milwaukee
points.
was down how much to Houston? 20 something, came back and won. We've seen those games. Dallas was down 20 a couple games ago, and they won in OT. I forget who they were playing. Well, you've seen it happen. Yeah. And the thing is, I'm buying what it is that it's easier to shoot in the bubble and to get hot. Softness of the rims, lack of distractions in the background, right? There's no more depth. There's no 20,000 seats in your peripheral. It's just focused on the basket. So, it's all it takes. What it's taken is, Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet start shooting some threes. And, they go 2 or 4 on threes, and you start catching back up. So I think that's where you start.
The thing I was from why I think you said it was Milwaukee, Houston, but it was Milwaukee, Miami, where they were down 30 and they ended up winning.
Houston beat Milwaukee. You're right.
And I was watching that game, and that game did give me worries about the Raptors because I was watching that game and thinking, Miami's up by 30. And then Milwaukee, and then like even like halfway through the third, no, Miami's up by a lot. But Milwaukee finishes with the win. What was that? And they have that superstar strength in Giannis being like, no, we're not losing. I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna score every basket
Yeah,
from now on.
I don't know if
feel
you
like we lose out a little on that.
Sure, but I don't know if you can really look at individual games as bubble. It's been so weird.
How
did Miami
weird,
Miami dummied Boston
without a Butler? Yeah.
without Butler, and Boston came close, but they still lost, right?
Yeah.
And if anything, with the one game I've seen, well, I got concerned for a team was Houston beating Milwaukee. The fact that Milwaukee, one of the biggest teams in the league, could not figure out how to dunk the ball on PJ Tucker's head.
Here's the thing. You want to tell you what I thought Houston was genius for.
Did Houston beat the Lakers in the bubble too, or am I mistaken here?
They did.
Right, so something about that, and Anthony Davis was horrendous that game.
I'm gonna tell you what I'm so like impressed with Houston. Of course, we you and me texting each other. We talked about this. Russ's Harden's defense, especially in the fourth quarter, where it's like every pass, every drive, their hands are on the ball somehow, right? They always get a tip or they touch the ball and it goes out of bounds or something. And I'm always like, how? But when they were playing Milwaukee, when I get to the point, what they ensured in that fourth quarter, and especially in the last minute, in those last few seconds, is they ensured that they had the lead of 3. Once they had the lead of 3, all they had to do is guard the perimeter.
Yeah.
Because Giannis ain't taking that shot. And especially in crunch time when your best player needs to take that shot, his downfall is he can't. He cannot take that 3. He could take the 3, but it's way less of a percentage than anyone else taking that 3.
He took a couple late against one of the games he lost in the bubble here. And they were so far off. And he was ineffective against Brooklyn.
Yeah, and they were saying that Brooklyn team was by the pool with that Houston team, and they got some tips from the Houston team on how to beat Milwaukee. And I'm thinking that because what's it called? Brooklyn was doing the same
good reporting, Addis. Good reporting.
Near the end, Brooklyn was doing the same thing. Made sure they were up at least 3. Because once they're up by 3, Giannis ain't gonna take the last shot. It's gonna be Middleton.
Yeah, but that's
it's gonna be Korver. It's gonna
easier
be
said to done.
Of course.
Every team would like to be up 3 points as opposed to 2 or tied.
I know, but I don't know, man. To call Giannis the best player in the league, I'm gonna bring up that point every time.
Sorry, I got a little bit distracted there. I want to check in on Utah Jazz and Denver Nuggets because I have Denver in my parlay. Because I was like, Jamal Murray's coming back. They're gonna get hyped up. Utah's up 90.
Back today?
Yeah, he's back today, first game. Utah's up 98-94. And Murray's just not shooting great. Obviously, you missed a lot of time, but he's got a double-double. Yeah. He's got 10, 10, and 5. So
that ain't too bad, bro. That's great for first game back.
I think we'll wrap up here. I want to talk about Denver for a little bit here. They haven't been playing great. Obviously, missing Jamal Murray.
Except they're missing a point guard, right?
Starting point guard, second best.
I don't know. I think it was a scrimmage game, or I don't know if it was a regular season. That they had Jokic playing point guard at one game. And I was like, what the hell is this?
During one of the scrimmage games.
Okay. I was gonna say if that was a season game, the stupidest thing.
We talked about Denver, how a good racing team. We don't take them serious in the playoffs, and I kept saying last year, they were young. It was their first experience. They're still growing. Yeah. They got gifted Michael Porter Jr. when he dropped in the draft because of his injuries. And throughout this season, he obviously missed all of last year. This season, he's been up and down. They don't even know what to expect from him. 4.5 months to get in the gym and practice has done this guy well. And he's come out to play. And even tonight, he's got 21, 6 and 2, 7 of 15. He's now starting as their starting power forward.
And he's getting the minutes finally. Right? I feel like that was the turning point.
And Millsap is back, and they're starting Porter Jr., and they gave Millsap a lot of money to come there last year. So, you know what? I see the beginning of a potential homegrown, solid, 3 core players. I'm not going to say big 3 just yet. But with Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., and Nikola Jokic.
Solid 3, yeah.
That team's going to be dangerous for years to come as Murray gets better and Porter gets better. And obviously we know what Nikola Jokic can do, but you have Porter and Jokic starting, and Porter's talked about how much he loves playing with Jokic. He says, I get easy baskets playing with Jokic because his passing is so good. Because this guy just not make a backdoor cut, balls in my hand right under the basket, dunk it. And Porter, I look at him and I think his game's very similar to Siakam, except he's obviously a lot bigger. Right? And playing the power forward. Like Porter, I think, is 6'10 or 6'11.
Porter? I thought he was closer to 7.
He's 6'10".
He seems really
He's
big.
6'10".
6'10".
And so
Yeah, that's huge.
if you can imagine that guy when he fills out, I think he's going to be one of the top power forwards in this league within a couple of years. And Denver's going to be pushing for chips.
I'm just looking at it. They're matched up with OKC in the first round. I don't know.
And then
I feel like
I said that's going to be a great series. That's even. I'm not like.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Because Steven Adams and New Orleans Noel are great defensive centers. So they could kind of hold Nikola Jokic.
I thought OKC should have beat Memphis, but they were not in that game mentally. I think they thought
it's kind of like the Raptors thing. Yeah.
They thought they're going to cakewalk Memphis, and Memphis said, "We need this game more than anything I've needed in my life." And that
was Memphis's first win of the bubble, right?
Yeah.
They needed it though, so.
All right, we were supposed to just do Leafs, Penguins, Raptors today. We've pretty much covered the two major sports.
The thing is, though, I want to mention one more thing.
Go on.
I know it's been going on here for a while, but what's going on with Zion? Why did the NBA set this all up for New Orleans, just so New Orleans cannot play the one guy that they were trying to set this all up for?
Honestly,
I don't understand what's going on.
How did Adam Silver not pick up the phone, call Gentry or David Griffin and say, "Yo, are y'all playing Zion when this bubble starts?"
They got the easiest schedule, and we looked at that. Portland had the hardest.
They started playing him a little bit more the last couple games, but he doesn't look that effective.
But they're still losing. Like, it's getting to the embarrassing point.
Didn't they beat Sacramento last night? Or didn't they beat somebody? They beat the Wizards.
They lost the thing is they lost the Sacramento.
Yes, they did before, but they beat the Wizards last night, so that's a great job by them.
Yeah, but that's a sure. If you lose that game, that's I don't know.
Oh, they didn't even play Zion yesterday.
That's like, what is going on? Why?
And here's my thing. Here's my thing. If you're not gonna play Zion, be nice and at least play Nickeil Alexander-Walker for me. Let me see Shea's little cousin and what this guy can do. They barely played this guy this season, bro.
He's probably not doing too well in practice. I don't think they even want to play him.
I think he was a first-round draft pick or a high second-round draft pick. Yeah, first round, 17th overall by the Nets. Then
17th.
17th overall, then they flipped the pick.
And they traded him?
Went to New Orleans, yeah. And they refused to use him.
We talked so much about this prior to the season that we thought this was all set up so that they could get a LeBron versus Zion in the first round. Well, no, it wasn't.
See, this is why it really sucks that the last episode didn't get posted because we really got into this. But as I said then, and I'll say now, it goes to show you how this organization, messed up Anthony Davis.
Rookie.
You had top 5 player in the league, best big man
easily, in
the league. And you squandered that opportunity. And was that a mistake? Yeah. No, I don't think so. But now you have Griffin at the head, who I thought was a great basketball mind. Alvin Gentry, I'm not really convinced about. So I wonder who's making these calls. I forget their GM's name. Is it him? Is it Griffin? Is it Gentry? Is it everybody not wanting to play Zion?
It's kind of like what you were saying what they do in the NHL, where it's like just unfit or fit to play. Like they won't tell you if the player's injured or anything.
Yeah.
There's got to be something where he's got to be injured, because what are you going to just keep pampering this guy until he freaking just leaves your team? Use him while you have him.
He was healthy when the season ended, right? And
exactly.
He had 4.5 months off, and now he's not fit to play 25 minutes a night.
But, it's the one time that you need everyone to play. Even if you're a little bit injured, play 30 minutes, play 40 minutes. This is his first year of his career. We were watching LeBron do this in his 16.
Here's the thing, though. If Zion is dealing with something, I understand that. You don't want to risk his whole career, your whole franchise's future, if he's playing with an injury. But then don't play him.
Why not come out with it?
Don't tell us he's injured and don't play him at all.
For 15 minutes. Why are we watching him play for 15 minutes and then benching him once he starts actually getting a little hot?
If he's dealing with something,
yeah,
he can still get hurt if he's playing 15 minutes. So I really hope that that's not the case, because then that just speaks to how incompetent of an organization they really are. Must be that they just don't want to use him, and they're slowly working him back into it. He said he's frustrated. He said, I'm good to go. He said there's more frustrating
I was going to say, every time I watch him on the bench, he looks hella frustrated. He looks like he's like, why am I not out there?
He said, I'm in the game, and anytime I start to break a sweat, the horn sounds, and I know it's for me to come out.
And
Plays in 3 minutes
this is
spurts.
why the guy was laughing when he found out that fucking New Orleans had the first pick, because he look at the experiment what they did with Anthony Davis. It didn't. It's just they can't make these rookies happy, because and like the fact that they're not making him happy by not playing him. So like, what are you really getting out of having him on your team? And if he is healthy, of course, if he's injured, okay, I get it. But if he's healthy, you're just wasting talent.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of questions to be answered in New Orleans, obviously with Zion, but even with Gentry and coaching. I mean, JJ Redick, we know what he's capable of. He hasn't looked like himself all season. Ingram got better. No improvement from Lonzo Ball, really. A little bit with the shooting, but slightly.
Yeah, it's the same thing, though.
I didn't see them take the step that I thought I would see them take this year.
Yeah. And I thought it was like, especially
during
during this restart, I thought, they might be coming in real hard, and like this could get interesting. But now I'm looking at San Antonio is probably gonna San Antonio, Portland, and Phoenix are the teams, not New Orleans.
Yeah, I mean Portland's obviously the favorite. Today was a big blow for them because they could have pulled within. They could have pulled within like a half game of Memphis.
Exactly.
And the big thing is you want to be the 8th seed, not the 9th seed, because then you just got to win one of those 2 games, not both of them.
I was gonna say, so how the hell is this play-in tournament gonna work if all those the 3 teams are tied?
It's gonna be.
It makes no sense to me.
The 10th team, you're further back. You're not gonna be in. If they're within.
It's just gonna be 9 and 8.
Yeah, but it's so important to be that 8th seed, so you only have to win 1 game, right? Instead of 2.
Yeah.
Tough toll.
Fair enough.
All right, I think that'll be it for today. What do you say?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Covered most of what we want to talk about.
All right. Thanks for watching to our dedicated fans. For Addis, I'm Jay.
Thank you.
We're out of the mix, and get your next cut at Majestic Barbershop.